Because what you are about to hear was not sent to everyone. This message crossed timelines, distractions, and interruptions to reach you right now. And when you hear the reason, you will understand why the battle around you intensified, why delays increased, and why resistance showed up right before breakthrough. Stay with me. Give God these next moments, because heaven is speaking. Before we go any further, let me say this clearly. God does not rush out of fear. He does not threaten his children, but he does interrupt. Throughout Scripture, when God sent a warning, it was never to destroy. It was to deliver. Noah was warned before rain. Lot was warned before fire. Joseph was warned before famine. Peter was warned before denial. And today, Archangel Michael, the commander of the Lord's armies, is standing watch over your life. This is not random. This is divine protection activating. Michael does not come for casual seasons. He appears when spiritual warfare increases. Destiny is near. God's people are under unseen attack. Assignments are about to shift. If you felt unusually tired, emotionally heavy without reason, attacked in your mind, misunderstood by people you helped, resistance when you tried to obey God, this is why. The enemy does not fight what has no future. Michael is not warning you because you are in danger. He is warning you because you are valuable. This is not about literal seconds on a clock. In the spirit, 18 represents bondage breaking and release after affliction. In Luke 13, Jesus healed a woman who had been bound by Satan for 18 years. This is a moment of losing, a moment when God says, enough, enough delay, enough confusion, enough pressure, enough second-guessing your calling. If you stay with this message, 3 things are happening right now. Your discernment is sharpening. Your spiritual covering is increasing. A trap meant for you is being exposed. The enemy thrives in distraction. He loses power in attention. That is why staying matters. Not because YouTube demands it, but because your spirit does. What you thought was emotional was spiritual. What you thought was coincidence was coordination. What you thought was delay was protection. Michael's sword does not come down to punish. It comes down to cut chains you couldn't see. My child, you are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not disqualified. I allowed the pressure because I trusted your endurance. I allowed the silence because I was strengthening your hearing. I allowed the shaking so only what I planted would remain. You were never abandoned. You were being covered. Do not rush decisions. Do not explain yourself to everyone. Do not doubt what God already confirmed. Do not go back to what he already released you from. Michael stands guard at transitions. This means movement is coming, but it must be obedient movement. Lord God, I thank you for your protection. I thank you for sending your angels to guard my life. I receive clarity. I reject confusion. I choose trust over fear. Archangel Michael, stand watch over my mind, my home, my calling, and my future. Every unseen attack is cancelled. Every delay is redeemed. Every promise is preserved. In Jesus' name, Amen. If this message confirmed something for you, type, I receive in the comments. If you know someone under pressure, share this video. You may be the answer to their prayer. And if this channel blesses you, like this video and subscribe. Not for numbers, but so you never miss a moment when heaven speaks again. You are covered, you are watched, you are not late, you are not alone. The battle you survived proved you were chosen. Walk forward, heaven stands with you. Do not skip your next step. God is already there. Come closer, not because you have everything figured out, but because you do not. Not because you are strong today, but because you are weary. Not because your faith feels unshakable, but because it trembles even as it reaches for me. I am not offended by your questions. I am not threatened by your uncertainty. I am not disappointed by your weakness. I draw near to it. You have been trying to carry what I never asked you to hold. You have been replaying conversations, rehearsing outcomes, imagining endings that have not happened and may never happen. You lie awake at night tracing every possibility, every risk, every regret, as if vigilance could protect you from pain. But beloved, you were never meant to live in constant alert, bracing for impact. You were meant to live anchored in me. You keep asking for clarity, but what you need first is rest. You keep asking for answers, but what I am offering is assurance. You keep asking for a map, but I am inviting you to take my hand. Trust is not something you switch on when circumstances are favorable. Trust is not faith on sunny days only. Trust is not agreement with outcomes you like. Trust is choosing to lean on me when the ground beneath you feels unstable. Trust is surrendering your need to control the ending and allowing me to author it. You see fragments, I see fullness. You see delays, I see design. You see loss, I see preparation. You see endings, I see transitions. Nothing in your life has surprised me, not the betrayal, not the silence, not the doors that closed without explanation, not the prayers that seemed to echo unanswered. I have been present in every moment you thought I was absent. I have been working in ways you could not recognize at the time, because my work often happens beneath the surface before it ever appears in the open. You are not behind, you are not late, you have not missed me. I know you feel pressure to decide, to choose, to act quickly before something slips away. But what is meant for you cannot be stolen by hesitation, delay, or human interference. What I have spoken over your life stands secure, not because you protected it perfectly, but because I did. Release the fear that if you do not act now, everything will fall apart. I am holding what you cannot. I am guarding what you love. I am sustaining what you fear is fragile. Let go of the belief that you must understand everything before you obey. You will never have full understanding in advance. That is not how faith works. Faith is not certainty, it is trust in my character. Faith is not seeing the whole staircase, it is taking the next step because you know who walks with you. I am not asking you to ignore wisdom or deny reality. I am asking you to stop leaning on your own understanding as if it was sufficient. Your logic is limited by time. My wisdom is eternal. Your perspective is shaped by pain. My perspective is shaped by promise. There are things I have allowed to be removed from your life not because they were bad, but because they were not meant to remain. You grieved them deeply because you invested sincerely. But hear me clearly, I do not waste sincere hearts. Nothing you gave in love was lost. It shaped you, it refined you, it prepared you for what comes next. Do not confuse release with rejection. Do not confuse delay with denial. Do not confuse pruning with punishment. Some things had to end so you could become who you are now strong enough to be. Some relationships could not follow you into the next season because they were attached to an old version of you. Some doors closed because the room beyond them would have limited what I am about to expand. You have been asking me, why did this happen? And I gently answer, because you are being repositioned. I am teaching you to trust me beyond emotion, to trust me when prayers feel unanswered, to trust me when obedience costs you comfort, to trust me when the future looks nothing like you imagined. This is not loss, this is growth. There will be moments ahead when you look back and realize that what felt like confusion was actually protection, that what felt like delay was alignment, that what felt like silence was instruction forming within you. I am shaping your discernment. I am strengthening your inner hearing. I am loosening your grip on outcomes so you can hold my peace instead. You do not need to chase what I have already assigned to meet you. You do not need to strive to earn what I have already promised. You do not need to prove yourself to me. I see you fully. I know you completely. I love you unconditionally. Rest from the exhausting belief that everything depends on you. I am not waiting for you to be fearless. I am waiting for you to be willing to trust even when your voice shakes, willing to obey even when your heart aches, willing to follow even when the path feels unfamiliar. There is a future unfolding that will require the version of you you are becoming now. The patience you are learning, the boundaries you are establishing, the humility you are embracing, the courage you are developing, none of it is accidental. I am doing a deeper work than you realize. When you feel tempted to rush, pause and breathe me in. When you feel tempted to despair, remember my faithfulness. When you feel tempted to control, choose surrender. Surrender is not giving up, it is giving over. It is placing your plans, timelines, and expectations into hands far more capable than your own. It is trusting that even if the path looks different than you imagined, the destination will be richer than you hoped. I am not asking you to trust blindly. I am asking you to trust me based on who I have always been. Have I not sustained you before? Have I not carried you through what once felt unbearable? Have I not restored you after seasons you thought ended you? I have been faithful in every chapter, even the ones you would rather forget, and I will be faithful now. There are blessings ahead that require you to walk lighter, to stop carrying yesterday's fears into tomorrow's possibilities. You cannot receive what is next if your hands are full of what has already passed. Lay it down, the regret, the disappointment, the self-blame, the unanswered questions, lay them at my feet. I am not overwhelmed by their weight. I am building something steady in you, something rooted, something unshaken by external chaos, a peace that does not depend on circumstances, a joy that is not fragile, a confidence grounded not in outcomes, but in relationship with me. You are learning to trust me not because everything is easy, but because I am good. Not because life is predictable, but because I am present. Not because you see the whole picture, but because you know my heart. And my heart toward you is love, unchanging, unwavering, unfailing. So rest, beloved. Breathe. Release. I will not misguide you. I will not abandon you. I will not fail you. Trust me with all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge me, and I will make your path clear. I am with you. I have always been, and I always will be. Beloved, stay with me a little longer. Do not rush away from this quiet place. I know silence can feel uncomfortable when your mind is loud, but this is where I speak most clearly. This is where your heart begins to remember what it already knows, that you are not alone and you never have been. You have been strong for so long, strong for others, strong in public, strong when no one knew how heavy things felt inside, but strength was never meant to replace dependence on me. I never asked you to survive on resilience alone. I asked you to abide. There are tears you held back because you thought faith meant composure. There are questions you swallowed because you thought doubt disqualified you. But hear me now, I am not intimidated by your honesty. I am drawn to it. When you bring me your unfiltered heart, you are not failing faith, you are practicing it. I see the moments when you whisper my name instead of saying everything else. I see when you choose prayer even when words feel empty. I see when you show up again after disappointment, still hopping, still believing, even if it's quieter than before. That quiet hope moves heaven more than you realize. You have been walking through a season where answers come slowly, where clarity unfolds one layer at a time. This is not because I am withholding. It is because I am teaching you how to walk with me, not ahead of me, not behind me, but beside me. If I showed you everything at once, you would rush. If I explained every detail, you would rely on knowledge instead of trust. If I removed every obstacle immediately, you would miss the strength forming within you. What feels like uncertainty is actually intimacy forming. You are learning my voice not just when it thunders, but when it whispers. You are learning to recognize my guidance not only through open doors, but through peace that defies logic. There are things ahead that will require discernment you did not have before. That is why I am slowing you down now. There are blessings coming that must be stewarded with wisdom, not fear. That is why I am healing you beneath the surface. Do not despise this season of refinement. Gold is not shaped in applause, but in fire. And you, beloved, are becoming steady, pure, and strong, not hardened, but anchored. I know you sometimes wonder if your obedience matters when results are not immediate. I know you question whether small acts of faith make a difference when the breakthrough feels far away. But every step you take in trust is building something eternal, even if you cannot see it yet. Nothing done in faith is wasted. No prayer prayed in sincerity is ignored. No act of obedience goes unseen. I am aligning things beyond your reach, conversations you will never hear, protections you will never notice, redirections you will only understand later. What feels like waiting is actually preparation unfolding in places you cannot access. Release the pressure to get it right. I am not grading your performance. I am shaping your heart. When you stumble, I do not step back. I step closer. When you feel unsure, I do not withdraw guidance. I increase it gently, patiently, lovingly. You do not need to fear making the wrong move when your heart is surrendered to me. I am capable of redirecting you. I am capable of redeeming detours. I am capable of bringing beauty even out of missteps. Trust me more than you trust your ability to navigate perfectly. There will come a time, sooner than you think, when things begin to make sense, when the pieces you could not connect start fitting together, when you realize that what you thought was a setback was actually a setup for growth, maturity, and deeper joy. And when that moment comes, you will not boast in your effort. You will recognize my hand. You will say, "Only God could have done this." And your heart will be filled not with pride, but with awe. Until then, walk slowly with me. Speak to me honestly. Rest when you are tired. Trust when you are unsure. And remember this truth when fear tries to speak louder than faith. I am for you. I am ahead of you. I am within you. Beloved, let me take you deeper still, not into heaviness, but into truth, the kind of truth that settles your spirit and quiets the noise you've grown accustomed to carrying. There is a peace I want you to live from, not just visit occasionally, a steadiness that remains even when circumstances shift. This peace is not found by controlling outcomes, it is found by trusting my heart. You have been measuring progress by visible change, but much of what I am doing cannot yet be seen. Roots grow in darkness long before fruit appears in light. Strength is formed quietly before it is ever tested publicly, and faith matures in the waiting before it rejoices in fulfillment. Do not underestimate what is happening in you right now. I am teaching you how to let go without becoming bitter. I am teaching you how to hope without becoming anxious. I am teaching you how to love without losing yourself. These lessons are preparing you for what you once prayed for, prayers you may have forgotten, but I have not. I remember every tear you cried in secret, every whispered request you thought went unheard, every moment you asked me simply to help you endure. You are not the same person who made those prayers. You are stronger now, wiser, more discerning, more rooted in me. And because you are different, what I give you next must also be different. It will be deeper, healthier, more aligned with who you are becoming. You have feared that waiting meant stagnation, but waiting with me is never wasted time. It is sacred ground. It is where your faith sheds what it does not need and holds onto what truly matters. There were things you wanted that would have burdened you if I had given them too soon. There were doors you begged me to open that would have led you into seasons you were not prepared to navigate. I protected you even when you did not understand my no. I guided you even when my not yet felt like silence. One day you will thank me for the things that did not work out the way you planned. You will see how my redirections spared you from settling, from striving, from attaching yourself to what could not sustain you. I know you sometimes question your own discernment. You wonder if you heard me correctly, if you waited too long, if you moved too slowly, if you trusted too much. But hear me clearly, a heart that seeks me sincerely is never far from my guidance. I do not hide my will from those who desire to know me more than they desire control. When you feel unsure, return to what you know to be true. My character does not change. My promises do not expire. My love does not diminish with time or circumstance. There is a future ahead that will feel steady, not rushed, peaceful, not pressured, confirmed, not confusing. When you step into it, you will recognize it not by adrenaline, but by alignment. Your spirit will exhale, your heart will feel at home. Until that moment unfolds fully, remain faithful in the small things. Continue to choose integrity when no one is watching. Continue to speak life when negativity tempts you. Continue to rest when your mind urges you to worry. I am forming endurance in you, not the kind that merely survives, but the kind that trusts me through every season. You are learning that faith is not proven by how quickly things change, but by how deeply you remain anchored when they do not. You are safe in my hands, even now, especially now. Nothing is unraveling beyond my control. Nothing is slipping through my fingers. Nothing about your life is random or overlooked. So when the days feel long, remember, I am near. When answers feel delayed, remember, I am working. When your heart feels tender, remember, I am gentle. I am not preparing you for disappointment. I am preparing you for fulfillment that lasts. Not a fleeting moment of happiness, but a life grounded in purpose, peace, and my presence. Walk forward with me, one step at a time. Trust me even when you cannot trace me. Lean on me even when your strength feels small. I am leading you somewhere good. I always have been, and I always will be. There is a moment in your life when everything you have believed in, every prayer you have whispered, every tear you have cried in silence, will converge into one unmistakable truth. God was working all along. He was not absent. He was not sleeping. He was not unaware of your struggles, your disappointments, your betrayals, or the long nights you spent wondering if life would ever turn in your favor. Every hardship, every closed door, every failure was never a sign that he had abandoned you. It was evidence that he was orchestrating something far greater than your mind could comprehend. You may have walked through valleys of fear, mountains of doubt, and storms of confusion. Perhaps you have felt invisible, overlooked, unworthy, or incapable of handling the challenges placed before you. Yet these were the very moments God used to refine your heart, to prepare your mind, to strengthen your spirit. He allowed obstacles, not to punish you, but to prune the branches that would not bear fruit, and to clear the path for blessings that were waiting to bloom in your life. Do not despise the hard times. They are the proving ground for your faith. They are the crucible where your character is forged. Just as gold is refined in fire, your faith has been strengthened through trials. What seemed like setbacks were actually setups. What felt like rejection was really a redirection. And what looked like loss was merely space being cleared for what is destined to be yours. There is a reason the enemy fought so relentlessly against you. He recognized the potential, the greatness, and the impact that your life could have when aligned with God's plan. He understood that you were being prepared for a future filled with purpose, favor, and divine abundance. This is why he tried to derail you, discourage you, and delay your progress. But every attack he launched, every scheme he devised, failed in the hands of God. Even in your weakest moments, God's strength sustained you. Every tear, every moment of despair, every prayer that seemed unanswered was not wasted. Satan is relentless because he sees what God has destined for you. But God is infinitely stronger, infinitely wiser, and infinitely more patient. He allows these battles not to break you, but to build a foundation that cannot be shaken. And when the time comes, when God opens that next door, you will look back and see the full tapestry of your life, the threads of struggle, patience, endurance, and faith, all woven together into a masterpiece that only He could create. One of the most difficult lessons for a human heart is learning to trust in God's timing. We live in a world that celebrates instant gratification, immediate results, and quick solutions. Yet, God works beyond the limitations of time and human understanding. He moves in ways that often seem slow to us, but perfectly aligned to the moment when everything will come together. You may feel impatient. You may wonder why the doors haven't opened yet. But remember, God's timing is never early, never late, and never wrong. He waits until you are ready, until your heart, mind, and spirit are prepared to receive the fullness of His blessings. Sometimes the waiting period is longer than you expect, but it is never wasted. It is a season of preparation, a time for growth, and a time for your faith to mature. While you wait, do not waste energy questioning or resisting. Trust, pray, seek Him diligently. Continue to walk faithfully, even in uncertainty, for every small step taken in obedience positions you for the moment when God will say, "Now is the time." Think about your life for a moment. Every challenge, every setback, every betrayal, every disappointment, all of it was a teacher in disguise. The person who betrayed you taught you discernment. The job you lost taught you reliance on God. The dreams that failed to materialize taught you patience. Every struggle has shaped you into someone capable of receiving the blessings that God has prepared for you. And here is the key. The blessings will not feel small or insignificant. They will feel overwhelmingly good because you have endured and grown through the preparation. When God opens this next door, you will see why nothing else worked out before. The timing, the circumstances, and even the people who hurt you were all part of a divine strategy to bring you to this moment fully ready. Do not rush, do not fear, do not doubt. Everything you went through was for this moment. God's promise is certain, His word does not fail, and your victory is not a possibility, it is a guarantee. You will experience breakthroughs that exceed your imagination, blessings that surpass your expectations, and answers to prayers that will leave you in awe. The key is to remain faithful, patient, and obedient, even when the path is unclear. Victory is not always loud or immediate. Sometimes it is quiet, subtle, and gradual. But when it comes with unstoppable power. You will see doors opening that you never thought possible. You will witness circumstances aligning perfectly in your favor. And you will realize with deep gratitude that every struggle, every tear, every delay was orchestrated by a loving God to bring you to a place of unimaginable blessing. There were moments when it felt like nothing was happening, days when your prayers seemed to echo back in silence, nights when you wondered if God had forgotten you, but heaven was never quiet. God was never still. He was arranging details, shifting circumstances, removing obstacles, and protecting you from outcomes you were not yet ready to face. Some doors did not open because God knew what was hiding behind them. Some opportunities were delayed because they would have cost you more than you realized. Some relationships did not work out because they would have distracted you from your calling. You were not being denied, you were being defended. God sees what you cannot see. He knows what you cannot know. Where you saw disappointment, God saw danger. Where you felt rejected, God was redirecting you. Where you felt delayed, God was designing the perfect alignment. You may have asked, "Why God? Why do others move ahead while I remain here?" But comparison clouds perspective. God does not move everyone at the same pace because He is not taking everyone to the same destination. Some blessings come quickly but fade just as fast. Others take time because they are meant to last. If God had given you what you asked for earlier, it might have crushed you. You were still healing, still learning discernment, still developing the strength required to carry what He promised. So God waited, not because He was withholding goodness, but because He was preserving you. There are blessings that require maturity. There are doors that require wisdom. There are callings that require endurance. God will never open a door you are not prepared to walk through. The enemy did not attack you without reason. He recognized your growth before you did. He saw your spiritual authority forming. He sensed the shift coming. That is why the attacks intensified. That is why confusion tried to settle in. That is why discouragement whispered lies in your ear. But every battle strengthened your discernment. Every disappointment sharpened your faith. Every loss taught you dependence on God alone. What once hurt you no longer controls you. What once broke you no longer defines you. What once delayed you can no longer stop you. You survived what was meant to destroy you, and that survival was not accidental. God was teaching your hands how to fight and your heart how to trust. Unseen protection was surrounding you. Even when you felt alone, you were not unguarded. God placed protection around you in ways you will only understand later. He shielded you from decisions that would have compromised your future. He blocked paths that looked good but would have drained your peace. He removed people who smiled at you but secretly planned against you. Some separations were painful but necessary. Some endings were heartbreaking but essential. Some losses felt unbearable, but they saved you. God's love is not always gentle. Sometimes it is strategic. He will break connections to preserve destinies. He will close doors to prevent destruction. He will allow tears if they keep you from tragedy. And one day, you will thank him for the things that didn't work out. God was building you in secret. While you were praying for visible progress, God was building invisible strength. He was healing old wounds. He was removing pride and fear. He was teaching you humility and courage. He was deepening your discernment. He was shaping your character. You were being shaped in places no one applauded. You were growing in rooms no one noticed. But heaven noticed, God noticed, and what he is about to release into your life will reflect every unseen season of obedience. Do not regret the hidden seasons. They are the reason you will stand strong when the spotlight comes. Your faith was being refined. Faith that has never been tested cannot be trusted. God allowed uncertainty so your faith would mature beyond feelings. He allowed silence so you would learn to trust his presence without signs. He allowed delays so you would stop depending on outcomes and start depending on him. You learn to worship without answers. You learn to pray without timelines. You learn to trust without guarantees. That kind of faith moves mountains. And now you are ready. The door is opening differently than you expected. The next door God opens will not look like what you imagined. It will be better. It will come with peace, not anxiety. It will come with clarity, not confusion. It will come with confirmation, not fear. You will not have to force it. You will not have to beg for it. You will not have to compromise for it. When God opens a door, it opens fully. What once required struggle will now flow. What once resisted will now align. What once felt impossible will now feel inevitable. The blessing will make sense of the battle. When God brings you into the next season, understanding will follow. You will see why the struggle was intense. You will understand why the delay was long. You will recognize why the enemy fought you so hard. Not because you were weak, but because you were chosen. Your story will become a testimony. Your survival will inspire others. Your obedience will unlock doors for generations. And the enemy will realize too late that every attack only pushed you closer to your destiny. Stay ready, stay faithful. This is not the time to grow weary. This is not the time to give up. This is not the time to doubt. You are closer than you think. Remain faithful in the small things. Remain obedient in the waiting. Remain grateful even before the breakthrough. God is not finished with you. The door is not delayed. The promise is not cancelled.